What is up, YouTube? It's Tom from Tech Time, and today I want to give you my final review, my long-term review of the OnePlus 6T. I've been rocking the phone since November, been posting pictures and things like that on my Instagram, talking about it, with a few of the tech guys that I know and stuff like that, and I've really loved this phone. It's been my go-to phone since November, really. I've reviewed a bunch of smartphones in that time, the Note 9, the Google Pixel 3 XL, had the Google Pixel 2, I've had the Galaxy S10e, I have the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, and the list goes on. A bunch of smartphones in that period, and the one phone that keeps drawing me back is the OnePlus 6T. Now, it doesn't check off all the boxes, but it does check off a bunch of them. So I'm going to get into the reasons why this phone just keeps drawing me back in. But I am going to give you guys a little disclaimer. If you're into like fancy B-roll and all that, this video is not going to be for you. I am talking just about the phone. It's just going to be kind of like a conversation. The phone's been out since November. You've seen every different image and angle that this phone could possibly be shot on. I just want to talk about my personal experience and actually using the phone since November as one of my main phones, if not, it's been with me pretty much all the time. So let's start it off by the look of the phone. The look of the phone is really nice. You know what I'm saying? You get a glass-on-glass design on par with everything else that's in this flagship world nowadays. You get the Corning Gorilla Glass 6 on the front. You're getting Gorilla Glass 5 on the back. So you're getting, pretty much top materials. It looks nice, super slippery without a case. It does come with a case in the box. That's what I've chose to use pretty much as my slim profile case. I have a bunch of cases from other case manufacturers, but this case just works. I have a little magnetic vent thing that I use, so that is the metal plate in the back. Doesn't look the best. I have a rugged case, my Unicorn Beetle Pro, that I use at work. Other than that, it has this little slim profile case on it, and it just works. This hasn't been my pretty phone. This has just been my grinding phone. This phone just does what it needs to do, and it always does it well. So that's why this phone has just keep bringing me back. The display, nothing fancy. It's not super high resolution. It is a 1080p display, but it is a very nice 1080p display, in my opinion. Like I said, I've reviewed the Note 9. It has one of the best screens out there. And when I go back to this phone right here, the screen does not disappoint me. I'm not going, oof, I wish I had some more pixels and things like that. The phone, the screen, it's beautiful, it's vibrant. It gets bright enough for me in outdoor sunlight. Could get a tick brighter. Yes, sometimes when I'm at work, I wish I had a little bit extra brightness. But overall, it gets the job done. It's nice. It's an OLED. It looks beautiful. Vibrant colors, deep blacks. It just works nice. I do wish it had an always-on display, but it does have an ambient display, so you just tap it and you can see it without having to unlock the phone. It gives you your, clock and I think your calendar or whatever it is, the date. So it gives you the basic essentials. You also get some kind of music controls on it, things like that. This one right here in particular is the T-Mobile variant. T-Mobile was the first carrier to ever have it in the US. I picked it up on there, and there has been some downfalls with that I'll get into a little bit more as we get into it. But talking about the display, it really is a beautiful display. This phone is a perfect size for me. I like the way it feels in the hand. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's super thin. It's just a really nice phone. Moving on to the software on this baby. The software has been butter. This is Oxygen OS on top of Android Pie, and it's just been so buttery smooth and fast that it's just really the benchmark for all smartphones. I don't have another smartphone that runs this fast. Nowadays, they all run super fast. I have the Galaxy S10e that has got the Snapdragon 855 in it, the newest processor. I have the Huawei Mate 20 Pro that has the Kirin 980 that is super fast. This one has the Snapdragon 845, but the software is optimized well for this phone that it just screams. It absolutely screams. It's what you would expect the Google Pixel 3 XL that I had to run like, considering that is stock Android, and they are the creator and the owner of Android, so you think they would have had their software optimized as well to run as smooth, but that was not the case with the Google Pixel 3 XL. That is the case with the OnePlus 6T. It is butter. If you're playing games, if you're searching the web, if you have a bunch of apps open, this thing does not slow down. You can have picture-in-picture with YouTube playing, and then you could be snapping pictures and then multitasking with a text message and bouncing between all these other things, and it never slows down. It doesn't even lag in the least amount. It just really is crazy. It's so smooth, and that's why I just always go back to this phone, because it is just so fast and so smooth. I've been a fan of OnePlus for a while. I used their OnePlus 5, and before that, it's been a few generations since I used the OnePlus. I believe it was the first generation. Then I went to the 5, now the 6T. And boy, oh boy, am I loving it. Can't wait to pick up the 7. That's how much I enjoyed the phone. There is one small little quirk that kind of bothers me about the software on the OnePlus 16. It's like the smallest little thing that's bothered me. And it is that I get a notification on the top that says Gmail. Thinking I have an email, I swipe down and it says email syncing, Gmail syncing, and it's like running in the background, syncing emails, looking for emails. I don't think there needs to be a notification for that. I don't know why there is. On any of my other phones, I don't get that notification that shows up there. All the time I think, wow, I got an email, boom, pull it down, and it says it's syncing. Really bothers me. It happens, pretty frequently. Something I wish, I could turn off. I checked in the settings, couldn't find a way to turn off. For me, if you guys know an answer for that, let it know down in the comments below. I'd really be interested in knowing that. Another thing that, kind of bothered me, and it's not, well, I can't say it's not OnePlus's fault, but it could be T-Mobile's fault, is that this is the T-Mobile variant. Let's take a look at what we're on software. We are on Oxygen 9.0.4, and we are, let's check the system updates right now, and we're on January security patch. Now, I have a newest security update on the Samsung Galaxy S10e. Yes, it did just come out, so the updates are a little bit more, but I know the OnePlus 6T is further along in its update cycle than what I have on my T-Mobile variant. So that is a disappointment. Software updates I know from the beginning have been delayed, but I've always seemed to have gotten them, at some point. Right now it seems like I'm just really far behind, and I'm not exactly sure where everybody else is, but I would assume they're further along than January security patch, considering we are now in May 6th or 7th, So that's been an issue software-wise. More, like I said, I think on maybe T-Mobile's end. Not positive, I can't say for sure. But, other than that little quirk with the Gmail and not getting the updates as quick as I could, if I had an unlocked version, that's kind of bothered me. I wish OnePlus and T-Mobile would work together and figure that out and get it, figured out and sent to me so I can get my updates. So the OnePlus 7 is right around the corner. I'm assuming this will probably get some type of an update when that gets released. Hopefully on the T-Mobile version. We'll see what happens. If not, I'm going to be switching over to the OnePlus 7 or the 7 Pro. So my days with the OnePlus 6T are pretty limited right now. So as far as connectivity, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, things like that, I've had no issues. I've been using the OnePlus Bullet Wireless headphones, and I did have kind of a mixed review on them that I will be reviewing them because they're supposed to be looking at the Bullet Wireless 2s coming out next week. So I will be re-reviewing them this week at some point. But I've been using those a lot, and my opinion's kind of changed on them. Anyways, connecting those to this phone right here is so smooth. Once they're paired up once, it's like connectivity that you would have with like AirPods and an Apple phone. It's just, lightning fast. I unplug those things from the magnetic. You unplug them, boom, they pair right up to the phone within seconds. I'm listening to music, making phone calls on my headphones, whatever I got to do, and it just pairs up quickly. Any of the other Bluetooth headsets that I've used, wireless headphones, things like that, everything works great on this. Does not have a headphone jack, does come with a dongle. I can say I don't think I've used it one time, except for maybe just once testing it in the beginning. Other than that, I've never reached for it again. It's just, I don't like carrying dongles around with me, so I've been, really trying to switch over to mostly wireless headsets, and it's worked out pretty good for me. Wi-Fi, connection strong, T-Mobile signals, everything's really strong. I've actually gotten better signal on this than I have on my Galaxy S10e. I was up in New York, upstate New York, visiting my brother who's in the Army. No service on my S10e. I had 2 bars of cell service and LTE coverage on the OnePlus 6T. Now this is a phone that comes in at about $550 to $600. The S10e is a $750 phone and goes, a little bit further from there. So I thought that was pretty good that the phone that's been out since November, that is a mid-range, premium mid-range phone, had better coverage, and it's consistent. I've been noticing it consistently lately since I've been testing the S10e a little bit more, that I get way better coverage with the OnePlus 6T. I don't know what's causing it, but it's just the way it is. It happens. My Wi-Fi download speeds, everything's great. The one quirk that I do have with the Wi-Fi, for whatever reason it is, software-based or what, is that I log into my home network, which is an Xfinity network, and then it logs it as like a safe network. No problems. When I come home, it automatically kicks on. I love it. Problem is when I'm out, I turn Wi-Fi off and it registers another Xfinity like hotspot as I'm driving, and it will try to pop up. It will turn itself back on and it will pop up even though I've turned it off. I've changed the settings around a million different times. Maybe I'm missing something. If there is something that you guys know about, let me know down in the comments below. But that's kind of been bothering me. It picks up Wi-Fi all the time, and then, I'm kind of jumping between a hotspot and my cell service. It can be frustrating. That is one little quirk with the Wi-Fi and connectivity issues. But if anything, it's probably overdoing its job, trying to, give me a safe network that's out there that I've already kind of logged into, because I logged into my Xfinity, and Xfinity does allow you to, kind of hop off their hotspots. But I just want to be able to connect to my house, and that's it. So lately, I kind of been watching it, turning the Wi-Fi off anytime it pops on, but it can be a little bit annoying. Getting to the battery life on this thing, battery life is really, really solid. It gets me all day at work. I come home and I have about 25%. I get home at about 6 o'clock at night. I leave my house about 6:15, 6:20 in the morning. So about 12 hours of continuous use. I use this thing at work, powering earbuds all day long pretty much. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm watching videos at lunch. I'm messing around with Instagram. I'm sending text messages. I'm making phone calls. I use this phone pretty heavily at work. And I can say, with background apps and everything else running, I have like about 200 apps on this phone. Battery life to me has been pretty impressive. It gets me 12 hours where some of my phones don't get me, maybe past lunchtime or a little bit past lunchtime, and I got to recharge them. This phone, solid all day long. I know I don't have to worry about chopping it off till I get home. And literally I come home, put it on the charger, hop in the shower, get out of the shower, and the phone's practically fully charged again. So no issues there at all. Battery life has been on par with any flagship that I've had, and better than most in my opinion. And that's why this phone, I just keep getting drawn back to it, because it is just that good. It really is. In almost every area, it's that good. Now, let's get into the one area that I wish to see improvement, because this is the one thing that has made me kind of reach for another phone at times, is the cameras. Front-facing camera is a decent shooter. It's on par, I would say, with probably most of the selfie shooters out there. It's nothing special. Shoots 1080p video, and it can take a solid photo. I'm not a huge selfie camera guy, but there is times I want to take pictures of me and my girlfriend or whatever it is, and I do want to, sometimes a decent selfie camera. This is decent, and it's actually pretty good. But when you get into like lower lights and things like that, it's not that good. It's definitely not on par with the Google Pixel front cameras. I think it's maybe on par with Samsung's. Definitely not on the video side, but photo sides, it's not bad. The rear camera, you have a dual camera setup. The main sensor is good. You can get good shots. If you do a little editing, they can be better. The second camera is a depth sensor. To me, get rid of it, or put a wide angle or something like that. You can zoom with it, but it's just digital zoom that they use. So, you know, I can do without it. The main camera, you can take solid pictures. You really can. If you're just the average person taking pictures, you're going to get really good pictures out of it. You know, you're going to think they're great or good, and you're going to be able to share them on your social media, your Twitter, your Instagram, where they get compressed, and they'll look fine. They really will. If you like to edit them a little bit, you can edit them. You can get some solid pictures out of it, but you're not going to get great pictures, and it's definitely not on par with most of the flagships out here. It seems like it focuses a little too slow for me at some points. It also has issues with, like, sometimes it just, the color representation is oversaturated like crazy, which it can make an appealing photo sometimes, but other times it just looks, you know, too oversaturated. The sky is like a dark blue when outside it's like a light blue. So things like that, you know, I think it tries to overcompensate by the image processing, trying to, you know, kind of boost up maybe the lack of the hardware. That's just what I think. The video side of things, on the rear camera, you can shoot 4K. It's capable. It's got optical image stabilization. At 4K, I think it's actually just EIS, so I'm not exactly sure, but I don't reach for this phone to shoot video. I don't really say, oh, let me go grab my OnePlus. I normally have two phones, and the phone that I'm using for everyday life is this baby right here. It's normally on my hip at work unless I'm like really focusing on testing a phone. This one's on my hip. But when it comes time to take a picture, if I need just a quick snapshot, no problem. If I'm trying to get something a little bit nicer, and definitely if I'm trying to get really good video, I either reach for my Galaxy, the Huawei for videos, and some photos depending on what I'm going with. But the Huawei is a whole nother story for another day. I got some issues with that phone too. But the cameras on this thing are just kind of where they're lacking, you know, and I'm hoping the OnePlus 7 can really up the game. There's been some rumors and leaks and things like that. Shows the 7 Pro looks like it's going to have a really capable camera. I'm also hoping the regular 7 can have a nicer camera. Just give us at least one good main sensor. Don't worry about depth sensors and all this other stuff. Just give us a solid main sensor. And if you're going to throw something else on there, maybe a wide. I can use the wide angle. I appreciate the wide angle. It's a nice perspective, but you're not getting that here. But you also got to think of the cost. This is a $550 to $600 phone. So, you know, there's going to be some cost cutting, and it seems like, you know, the camera was there. You'll also lose, you know, wireless charging on this thing and an IP rating. That's something that I wish it had, an IP rating, just for that peace of mind. They say that it, you know, it can survive splashes and stuff, and I work outside in the rain and things like that. I haven't had any issues. It did get really wet a couple weeks ago when I was outside working and like downpoured, and it held up, you know, really good. Plus I use a Unicorn Beetle Pro, and it has the flaps over it and stuff like that. So for me, it hasn't really been an issue. Water, nothing like that, but I do, you know, like that sense of security. I understand it costs money, and then the price of the phone could go up. Who knows, you know? So those are kind of some of the trade-offs you got to make. But if you want an absolute powerhouse, this thing is snappy since it was day one. The OnePlus 6T, man, is a beast. It really is. And it has some of the, you know, new age features. You get the in-display fingerprint sensor, which to me has worked fine. It's gotten better with updates. In the beginning, it was kind of hit and miss, but for the most part, it's good. If not, you got face unlock is so fast. Not the most secure, but damn is it fast. And for me, you know, I'm not trying to lock my phone down like Fort Knox. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's taking my phone and using pictures of me and things to get into my phone. If you're living some kind of crazy, shady life where you got to worry about somebody scanning a photo of you and then using that to unlock your phone, you know, then you maybe you want to think about not using face unlock on this, just a fingerprint sensor or a pin or whatever you want to do. For me, it's not an issue. It's beautiful. And it's that quick. It's like, it's literally lightning fast. And I also love this little slider on the side. Surprised more companies don't adapt it. You know, silent, vibrate, and ring. So simple. You know, you see iPhone's doing it. Apple's had it for years. This is more of like a click, silent, and then kick on. I do like the vibrate option with this one. It works out good for me. Overall, guys, I've been rambling on a little bit, but man, I love this phone. I've been using it since November. Really put it through its paces, and I have not been able to slow it down. I have been able to slow some of the other phones down. Google Pixel 3 XL, some stutters and things like that. some galaxies, little stutters here and there, but the OnePlus 6T, the $579 phone, has not slowed down one time. So if you guys are interested in picking up a 6T, now's the time to do it. There's been a lot of sales going on because the 7's about to be pushed out, and I definitely recommend it. And I will be reviewing the OnePlus 7, so stay tuned for that. If you guys have any questions about the OnePlus 6T or any comments, let's get some conversations started down below. Until the next time, guys, I'll catch you later.